The 1 Minute Fix. Mike was an average chap, just a regular kid who was in the middle of his senior year of high school. He lived in an average townhouse, located in a neighborhood right next to the school he went to, and was even part of the indoor track team. The only reason he was on it was because of three main reasons. A, his parents said that he needed to do a sport as part of the high school experience. B, his friends peer pressured him into joining. And C, he thought that being on a member of a sports team would increase his chances of becoming more popular amongst his classmates, something he's always longed for since middle school. In terms of appearance, Mike is pretty average in terms of that too. Like 5'9" in height, 180 pounds body weight, dirty blonde hair, brown eyes, and pale skin. He did have a higher than average body fat percentage though, and is pretty out of shape, even though he was a member of said indoor track team. His style was also pinpoint average for high scores as well. He often went by social standards and the latest hip fashion trends, as well as the most recent fad in pop culture, though on the average day, he'd either be seen wearing a fit involving white basketball shoes, gray sweatpants, and a Nike t-shirt, or on his depressed days, quote unquote, wear a pair of those crusty brown slippers a lot of kids his age wore, with a pair of plaid PJ pants and a gray hoodie with his AirPods in. Anyway, the date was November 1st on a pretty typical Monday morning. The time was 6 a.m. and Mike's alarm on his phone had just begun ringing. At first, Mike didn't even move, although he did hear his alarm ringing throughout the room. About 3 minutes passed, and he finally went to hit the snooze button on his phone. 2 minutes later, his mom is calling up to him from downstairs in the kitchen. She's currently packing his lunch for the day. "Mike, come on, it's time for school," she called. "Okay," Mike replied, extremely groggily. It was extremely difficult for Mike to arise in the mornings. Not just this morning, but every morning. You see, Mike never goes to sleep at a reasonable time. Instead, he stays up past 1 a.m. every night playing Valorant on his Xbox and scrolling through TikTok. Anyway, another 15 minutes had gone by, and Mike was still asleep, and his mom was starting to become fed up. "Mike!" she shouted. "I'm up, Mom! I'm up!" Mike replied panickedly as he scrambled to get out of bed. Mike then threw on his typical fit with the PJ pants and slippers, along with a blue hoodie. He went to the bathroom and took his first poop of the day. After that, he went to brush his teeth. As he half-effortedly did this, he realized that today was no ordinary day. "Oh shit! It's No. November!" It was true. That day was indeed the first of 30 when it came to No. November, and Mike was pumped. "This is finally the month I get good grades, get six-pack abs, and get a girlfriend," he said to himself. I don't know, the whole thing might be a shock to his system though, because for the past 5 years straight, Mike had been wanking off every single night. Last night was no exception. Mike was hyped, however, hyped to make a change to his old habits. As Mike is about to find out though, is that old habits like those aren't as easy as he thinks they are to get rid of. "This is it this time. I'm gonna go the entire month without fapping. Let's get it," he thought to himself as he spit out the toothpaste in the sink. But little did Mike know how unprepared he was for this challenge. Mike vigorously rubbed his hands through his already unwashed hair to give it that cool, messy look. "Girls dig this," he said to himself as he waked in front of the mirror. After that, he headed down to the kitchen where his mom was waiting for him. The time was now 6:55, and Mike usually walked out of his house and over to the school around 7:15, as school begins at 7:30. "It's about time you get ready for school," his mom said. "Anyway, here's your lunch. You have your lunch, so I don't want to see from my account that you bought lunch from the lunch line today, okay?" "Okay," Mike replied, still pretty groggy. Even though Mike's mom packed him a lunch of a Nutella sandwich and chips every day, he almost always eats it in class before lunch. But when lunchtime does roll around though, he's still hungry and goes up to the lunch line and gets food from there as well. "If I get one more notification from my account that you bought lunch today, you're grounded," she said. "Oh, and also, make sure you get your grades up. They're terrible. You have 15 missing assignments," his mom exclaimed before leaving for work promptly after. It was true. Mike's grades were awful. He had an F in math and a D in chemistry. In Spanish, he had a C and a C in team sports. Come on, Mike. A C in gym class? Gym? Anyway, Mike grabbed a pack of Pop-Tarts for breakfast before plopping down on the couch and scrolling on TikTok, till around 7:20, when he realized he actually needed to get going for school now. The weather was chilly in November, so Mike had his hood up, with his hands buried in his pockets on the walk across the street to the high school. When he walked inside, his friend Ty greeted him. "Yo, Mike, guess what?" said Ty. "What's up?" Mike replied. "Brittany replied to my snap last night. Let's go!" Mike exclaimed, pretending to be excited. But in reality, though, Mike was jealous. He himself had been snapping his crush, Monica, all last night, and she still had been leaving him undelivered, let alone replying to them. Monica was in Mike's team sports class for 5th block at the end of the day, so he planned to make a move on her then. It was No. November after all. The time to become a greater you. The two friends continued chatting in the hallway for a little bit before Ty said he needed to head to class. Mike, on the other hand, went to the bathroom and took out his vape. He was the only one in the bathroom at that time, as everyone else was already in their first block class. Mike just stood there in the big stall as he simply stared at the wall whilst hitting his vape pod. Just then, the bell for the first block class rang. Mike was late. Oh shit, he thought to himself. His first block class teacher told him last week that if he was late to class one more time, then he'd be receiving an email home. Mike rushed out of the bathroom and ran down the hallway towards his first block class, which is Spanish with Senora Harrington. Mike walked through the door and went to his desk. Alright, Mike, that's an email home, Senora Harrington said.
Oh, come on, Miss Harrington. My mom's gonna kill me.
But it was too late. Senora Harrington had already sent the email home. Alright, class, take out your review packets one last time before the unit test today, Senora Harrington said. The unit test? Mike had completely forgotten about the unit test that Monday, and he never did his review packet either. He was fucked.
Yo, Ethan, you got the answers to the review packet?
Mike asked his classmate. Ethan gave Mike the answers, but it wasn't enough time. Senora Harrington was already coming around to collect the packets for a grade. Hand it over, Mike. It's not my fault that you didn't study for the weekend, she said. Mike reluctantly handed her the half-completed packet, and next the exams were handed out.
Okay, Mike, it's known at November. You got this,
Mike said to himself as he locked in on his assessment. You see, Mike doesn't ever pay attention in class. He's either on his phone, asleep on his desk, or busy daydreaming about Monica, his crush. Anyway, class time went by, and Mike still hadn't yet completed his exam. The bell would ring in 5 minutes, and everyone else was handing their tests in.
Miss Harrington, can I come in for study hall to finish my test?
He asked. Usually I'd have no mercy for students who don't study, but I'm feeling nice today. So sure, Senora Harrington replied. A wave of relief washed over Mike, as he could now have time to study in between now and study hall. Though, the only issue was that Mike's second block class is math. More specifically, Stat Prob. Mike knew he could not afford to get distracted with Spanish and Stat Prob of all things, when he knew that that was the class in which he was struggling the most with. The bell rang and the hallways flooded with people as they headed to their second block. Mike made sure he wasn't late this time. He walked into his teacher, Mr. Fry's math class, and took out his Spanish stuff to cram a minute of studying in before the lesson for the day began. He couldn't focus though, as the lack of sleep along with the brain fog from all the vaping he's been doing was starting to catch up to him. Okay, everybody, let's get our Chromebooks out and open up my school classroom. Mike, however, was so desperate to cram in the Spanish material that he decided that just for today, he'd disregard his math. This would be a mistake though, as Mr. Fry had big plans for the class that day. Alright everybody, log into my class page and click on the link for mystudentclassroom.com. There, we will enter my class, and from then on, we will do all our statistics and probability work on this website. If you don't join within 1 minute, however, you will not be able to join the class, period.
I'll do it in a minute. I just need to finish memorizing my present tense verb conjugations for Spanish,
Mike thought to himself. Okay, and time is up. If you are not in the class website as of right now, then too bad, said Mr. Fry. Your grade will also be severely impacted by this. Oh no. It had been over the 1 minute time limit, and Mike still hadn't joined the class group. Mike didn't care too much, however. He figured it'd be worked out, but for now, he just had to focus on Spanish. Math class continued by whilst Mike wasn't paying attention, as usual. About halfway through the block, however, and a notification appeared on Mike's phone saying that his favorite prank TikToker had just uploaded a new video. He then grabbed his phone and opened up TikTok, and that's how he spent the remainder of class. He had not memorized much of his Spanish, but he did come up with a plan to cheat on the rest of his test by sneakily keeping the study guide papers under the desk whilst he worked.
Miss Harrington won't notice,
he thought to himself.
She's dumb.
Next, the bell for study hall rang, and Mike made his way right on back to St. Harrington's room. The teacher sighed. Alright, Mike, let's get this over with. Senora Harrington handed Mike back his test and he got to work. Basically, what he would do was he'd read the question the test was asking him, then slouch all the way back in his seat to get a peek under his desk. Though, it's quite obvious what he's doing, even from the teacher's desk. Mike, what are you doing? Senora Harrington questioned.
I'm, texting my mom,
Mike replied snarkishly. Nope, you're done. First, you come into my class late without studying, then you have the nerve to use your phone during a test?
But miss, you see,
Mike stuttered, but Senora Harrington wasn't having any of it. Nope, you're done. Hand me your paper, she told Mike. Though Mike didn't get up right away, so the teacher got up from her desk and walked over to collect Mike's test herself. She then caught sight of what Mike was really hiding under his desk. What is this? She exclaimed, shocked. Cheat sheets? Okay, and that's final, Mike. You officially received a big fat 0 on your test.
Ah, fuck,
Mike thought to himself. He then pulled out his Chromebook and checked his newly updated grade in Spanish. It was a C, but now it was down to a 45%, an F.
My mom's gonna kill me,
Mike said to himself. He then gazed out in the hallway and caught a glimpse of his crush, Monica, walking to her class. So then he spent the rest of study hall daydreaming about being her boyfriend. What a simp Mike was. Anyway, after study hall came lunch. Mike sat down with his friends and ate the lunch that his mom packed for him that morning, except he was still hungry afterwards.
One sec, guys. I'm gonna go and grab something to eat from the lunch line real quick.
Mike got up and went into the lunch line. He wasn't paying attention though, because guess who he got right behind? Monica and her friends.
Oh shit, quick, chill.
Mike thought to himself as he leaned his hand on the lunch line counter and pretended to be lax and such, though on the inside, he was panicking. Mike then put one hand inside of his hoodie pocket and went on his phone to scroll on TikTok with the other. As he scrolled on his phone though, he'd frequently glance up at Monica. He tried his best to keep it a secret, but I think her friends caught on pretty quick to what Mike was up to.
Monica, who's that creepy guy standing behind you? He keeps looking at you.
Oh, him? Monica said quietly as she laughed. That guy randomly added me on Snapchat a few weeks ago and he hasn't stopped snapping me since. He's so annoying. Then, one of Monica's friends went on to call Mike out on his pervertedness.
Quit looking at her friend, you creep. Oh, I was just up, checking my phone, you know? I'm a pretty busy guy.
Obviously weirded out, Monica and her friends got out of the lunch line to get away from Mike. Mike's face turned beet red out of embarrassment. Anyway, he got a burger with fries from the lunch line, along with chips, a cookie, and a chocolate milk, before going back to the table his friends were at. Yo, bro, Mike, that looks nasty as fuck, his friend said.
What the fuck?
Mike added, as he unwrapped his burger. It seemed as if the school was getting cheaper and cheaper with their lunches by the day, as they were using ground chicken instead of hamburger meat.
Fuck this,
Mike said. He then went on to eat his chips and cookie instead. He wasted everything else. He had completely disobeyed his mom about buying from the school lunch line. After lunch, Mike went to his 4th block class, which was chemistry. He was relieved beyond imagination, though, when he walked in and found there to be a substitute for the class that day. Okay, everybody, my name is Mr. N, and as you can see, the teacher is not here today. Your assignment should be posted up on my school classroom. If you need anything, I'll be up here reading my book, Mr. N said. Mr. N was one of the chillest subs in the school, so Mike knew that chemistry that day would be a breeze. Or would it? Mike opened up the school program and had a pit of dread form in his stomach when he saw the assignment the teacher had posted for the day. It was on balancing chemical equations, and the document appeared to be 16 pages long.
Due by the end of class? That's some bullshit,
Mike thought to himself. Everyone else in the class got busy working, but not Mike. Instead, he opened up his phone to go back on, you guessed it, TikTok.
I'll do this assignment when I get home. There, I'll be able to focus better.
As of that moment, TikTok was like some sort of 1-minute fix for Mike, as it had been all day for him. The problem, though, was that those science classrooms at Mike's school had terrible internet connection, even if you are logged onto the Wi-Fi, or the school Wi-Fi, which completely sucked. So, Mike simply went to go use the bathroom, locked himself in a stall, and hit his vape some more instead. As he sat on the toilet hitting his vape, however, a group of rowdy kids came strolling on into the bathroom. Mike obviously couldn't see who they were, but he could definitely hear them. Yo! Got him! One of them shouted. Their voices were echoed fiercely off the bathroom walls. Hey yo! Some kids in the big stall! Another one said excitedly. Bet! The group of rowdy kids had walked over to the stall that Mike was vaping inside of, and began obnoxiously kicking and screaming at the door. Oh, woo! He shouted. Mike immediately got intimidated and nervous.
Hey yo, guys, chill. I'm trying to take a shit in here, can't you see?
No way, bro's taking a shit! Mike could not handle the chaos, so he crawled in the nasty bathroom floors and out of the stall. The rowdy kids then saw him running out of the bathroom with his hoodie up. This dude still got shit on his pants! Mike hurriedly ran back to his class and slammed the door behind him. He was out of breath from what he had just went through. People gave him some weird looks as he made his way back to his seat. Mike simply spent the rest of the class with his AirPods in, hoodie up, and head down on his desk. He is now just trying to save his energy for 5th block when he intended on asking out Monica. 5th block. The bell rang and Mike grabbed his backpack and made his way into the fitness wing and into the boys' locker room to get changed for team sports class. He opened up his gym locker and was immediately made dizzy by the scent of his smelly gym clothes. He had forgotten to take them home to get washed over the weekend. It's not like changing was an option, however. He had to get changed for gym, or else he'd ruin his clean fit for the day. After all, he had to go hard in team sports that day so he could impress Monica, his crush. Ideally, he gets a date with her that very night, like to dinner or to a movie or something. He was excited, but also nervous. He had to do something about the must on his clothes, though.
Yo, Brian, got some of that Axe?
Mike asked one of his classmates. I got you, fam, Brian replied. Mike took the container of Axe body spray, the Apollo scent, and doused his entire body head to toe heavily in the substance. Who the fuck sprayed that shit? I can smell that fucker from the hallway, the gym teacher, CoachOnnelly, shouted from Indeed. out in the hallway. Before heading into the locker room to investigate, Coach Onley was the team sports coach at Mike's high school. He was a tall, bald man with glasses in his 50s. His voice always echoed through the gymnasium when he takes attendance before class.
Ah, shit.
Mike thought to himself. Mike decided to scram from the locker room before Coach Onley found him out. He wouldn't want word getting around to Monica after all, now would he? 5 minutes later, and Mike, along with his classmates, were all sitting down in the main gymnasium whilst Coach Onley took his all-signature attendance. Team sports was Mike's favorite class, because not only were a lot of his friends in it, but his crush Monica was also in it as well. And this was the day he'd go in and ask Monica out on a date. Okay, everybody, we'll be doing some volleyball today, the coach announced.
Volleyball. This is the perfect chance to show off my skills to Monica,
Mike thought to himself. The coach then went on to inform the class to get into teams of 5 for some rotating rounds, as he called them, where each group would verse each other at least once. Mike was torn, however, torn between which group to join up with, his boys or Monica's group. The choice is clear in this case, however. Mike stood up from the gym floor, put his hands awkwardly in his pockets, and shuffled his way over towards Monica and her group of friends.
Mind if I join your group, guys?
His palms were sweating and his knees were shaking. Monica replied as her friends laughed. We already have a group of 5.
Oh, yeah, right, of course,
Mike said.
I'll just go and join, with them.
Mike then stumbled away from Monica and her friends and towards his own friends. His face, yet again, lit up with embarrassment as his face turned beet red.
Alright, guys, let's get this party started,
Mike said to his friends. Mike, we already have a group of 5, man. You're gonna have to find someone else, Brian from the locker room told him.
Fuck you guys,
replied Mike. Long story short, Mike was not able to find a team to join that day, as everyone was already part of one. Seems like you have to sit this one out, Coach Onley said. And there Mike was, sitting crisscross on the gym floor, leaned up against a wall. He awkwardly watched as his friends played around against Monica and her friends. It was now or never. He had to ask Monica on this date, or he'd miss his chance forever. He stood up from the floor and went on to stand over by the end of the volleyball net.
Monica,
he called. Obviously, Monica ignored Mike at first as the game of volleyball was in full swing. Though once the game was over, he was finally able to get her attention. What do you want? She asked.
So, I was just wondering, Monica, if you wanted to go to the movies or something tonight. After that, maybe we can Netflix and chill?
Though Monica's friends immediately started laughing. I actually have a boyfriend, Monica replied. Mike was devastated. He ran out of the gym and into the boys' locker room. He locked himself in a bathroom stall and pulled out his phone and opened up Instagram.
All hoes are the same. I know. I'm just too good for her. That's all.
It was all a cope, though. Mike opened up Spotify before putting on the song All Girls Are the Same by Juice WRLD. He then opened up Monica's Instagram profile.
Oh no,
Mike thought to himself. It was true. Monica, his crush, had a boyfriend. Mike recognized the dude immediately. His name was Bryce, and he was 6 foot tall, jacked, and came from a rich family in the Holly Hills Country Club neighborhood. He was also head quarterback on the varsity football team. Bryce also happened to be in Mike's team sports class. Mike then stormed out of the boys' locker room to go and confront Bryce. It had seemed that Coach Onley had declared the class to take a short rest break from volleyball, so the entirety of the class is now standing around talking. Sure enough, Monica was in the corner near the bleachers, talking with her boyfriend, Bryce. Mike stormed up to them and put on a tough man front to give Bryce a piece of his mind. It was No.1 after all, so now was his chance. How's it going, Mikey? Bryce said in a friendly tone.
Don't play all la-la with me, Pricey boy. I know how low-value males like you like to simp on these women. I, the alpha male here, is here to show Monica how a real man works.
Monica immediately became extremely weirded out. Mike, just leave me alone for once. I don't like you, she said. Yo, man, chill. We don't want any problems, now do we? Said Bryce in a very relaxed tone of voice. Mike then tried to square up on Bryce and threw a few fists. Bryce blocked him, though, and was about to consider punching back, when luckily, Coach Onley came up to break up the trouble. Whoa now, boys, take it easy now, take it easy. Just then, the bell for dismissal rang and it was time to go home. Mike was done with this day of school.
Man, fuck school,
he thought to himself. Mike just wanted to go home so he could be productive and get a good grasp on his goals and for No.1. By now, the weather was overcast outside and about 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Mike walked across the street and into his neighborhood village where his townhouse was. He used his key to get inside. His mom didn't get home from work until later, so he'd be home alone for the time being. The first thing that Mike did when he put his school bag down and took off his shoes was open the pantry up, grab a bag of chips, and plop down on the couch. He then opened up Instagram and was shocked to see that Monica had blocked him.
What? It can't be,
Mike thought to himself. Mike finished his chips next. He knew that he had schoolwork to do from that day, like his chemistry work, but he decided that first to take a minute to unwind from school and de-stress. Though, next thing you know, and Mike is up in his bedroom, lying down on his bed, which is still messy and unmade from that morning. He scrolled on TikTok for some more, until he came across it.
No way, a hot yoga instructor on TikTok?
Mike said to himself. It had now seemed that Mike had stumbled across yoga talk. Mike immediately pulled down his pants. I know what you're probably thinking, and that is that Mike is about to fail No. November on day one. But no, not in Mike's mind.
I am not gonna fail No. November this early. I need to stay strong so I can get shredded, and so Monica can be my girlfriend. I'm just gonna go for a little bit.
I'm not going to go into detail about what Mike began doing next for obvious reasons. But guess what? He failed No. November.
Ah, fuck.
Mike said.
I cannot believe I just did that.
It was true, though. Mike had gone to the point of no return, the malicious activity in which he was partaking in. Mike was then overcome with the typical feelings of guilt and shame associated with spanking the monkey. He then tried to make up some cope, though, to justify his lack of discipline.
No. November is stupid anyway. Only middle schoolers and people who can't get any bitches do it.
Well, Mike, based on today, it doesn't really seem like you're getting much of any play. Anyway, Mike cleaned up and put away his phone. With the visions of No. November now squashed, his new goals for the month went right out the window as well. Just then, his mom arrived home from work, and she was pissed.
Mike, you bought lunch at school again,
she shouted up to him.
Sorry, Mom, but I was hungry, you stupid bitch.
What did you just call me? Mike, you're grounded.
Fine.
Mike didn't do much for the next hour. He simply scrolled on TikTok, some more, as well as played a few rounds of Valorant with his friends. Though he got bored after a while.
I should probably start my chemistry work now,
he thought to himself. For the first time in forever, Mike actually pulled out his school Chromebook and opened up the school program at his house. He opened up his teacher's document and tried to get to work. It wasn't long though before he went back onto his phone, and before he knew it, he was on the Instagram Explore page. Models, babes, bikini girls are everywhere on Mike's Instagram Explore page. I guess this really says a lot about the type of content Mike looks at online then. 10 minutes later. Mike exclaimed quietly as he stood up from his crusty computer chair. That's right, he had just coomed again. Come on, Mike, you're better than that. Though Mike knew now that he really needed to get focused on his chemistry work. It's nearing 5 p.m. now, and it was already almost dark outside. His mom then called him from downstairs, saying that his interim report for the midterm had just come in the mail. Mike had completely forgotten about midterm. Mike went downstairs and into the kitchen to confront his mom about his midterm grades.
Mike, your grades are terrible. 2 F's, a D, and a C. You will be in big trouble. Just wait until your father gets home tonight.
His dad. Mike had completely forgotten about his dad. Mike's father was currently on a business trip for work, but was scheduled to come home that very night.
He should be home any hour now,
Mike's mom mentioned. Mike needed a plan, and fast. He ran back upstairs to his room and hit up his friend Ty through his Snapchat audio call. Here's their exact conversation. Yo, bro, what is it?
Yo, man, what's up?
Nothing, why?
You down for me to spend the night at your place tonight?
Let me ask my parents, bro. Oh yeah, they said sure.
Yes, I'll be over fast, and I'll also bring my Xbox and snacks.
Just then, Mike began receiving a phone call from his dad. When he picked it up, his dad informed him that he'd be home in exactly 2 hours. Mike, I'll be eager to see those midterm grades. I'm sure you've been studying very hard at school now, Mike's dad said through the phone.
Alright, Dad. Sounds good,
Mike replied. Even though Mike was dreading his dad coming home to see his midterm grades, he wasn't worried yet, since he'd be getting to chill the night at Ty's house. He took a sigh of relief as he collapsed onto his bed. Everything seemed to be working out for him, so he grabbed his phone and began scrolling on, and you guessed it, TikTok.
Who the fuck wears those dumbass shoes?
He said to himself as he scrolled through the 15-second clips of pure dopamine. Mike continued scrolling for another 15 or so minutes. His plan was to wait another half an hour until his mom is vacuuming the house when she usually does every night. Then, he'd sneak out through the window and use the noise of the vacuum cleaner to prevent his mom from hearing him. Anyway, another 10 minutes had gone by and Mike had found himself stumbling upon a TikTok featuring a compilation of hot Kim Kardashian pics. Mike immediately knew it was time to do. You're really gonna go for your third relapse, Mike. Your third. Yeah, it was too late though. That moment marked Mike's third coom of the day, officially making his attempt at No. November a complete disaster. Anyway, it was around 6:30 at that point, and Mike knew his dad would likely be home any minute. It was now or never. He got up from his bed and tossed together a duffel bag for the sleepover at Ty's house, consisting of his Xbox, some soda, and some junkie snacks. Mike then got out his phone and texted Ty.
Yo, man, are we having any hoes over tonight?
We'll see, man. Perhaps I can get Brittany over. Maybe even Monica. Ty texted. Mike was hyped now. If there was any chance that Monica would be at the sleepover, he had to go. 5 minutes later, and Mike's mom began her nightly vacuuming routine. Mike snuck downstairs and out of the living room window. He ran with his hands in his pockets, as it was now freezing outside. Luckily, Ty also lived in the Wokedale village, so it wouldn't be far of a walk. 5 minutes later, and Mike was on Ty's front stoop, ringing his doorbell. Ty answered the door and let Mike in.
Yo, bro,
Said Mike. Ty and Mike headed down into the den, where Ty's gaming setup was. He had an array of soda, chips, and other junky delights laid out messily all across the basement floor.
Alright, bro, are we getting Monica up in this bitch or not?
Mike asked excitedly. Bro, you're such a simp and you get no bitches. I've been snapping my crush, Brittany, all day, and you still can't get Monica, Ty replied. I'm gonna stay here and play video games. I'm leaving it up to you to get Monica to hang with us. Here's your address. Monica's house address. Mike couldn't believe it. Mike had been crushing on Monica since sophomore year, and he now knew where she lived. She also happened to live right in the same neighborhood that Mike lived in.
Yo, thanks, bro. How did you get this?
Mike asked. Brittany told me. Now go and get her, Ty said encouragingly. Mike didn't wait around. He sprinted up from the basement and back outside. He now knew where Monica lived. But now came the part that Mike still wished he was on NoFap for. It involved pulling a Romeo and Juliet and getting Monica's attention from outside her bedroom window before asking her out on a date, traditional style, just like in the movies. 5 minutes later, and Mike had arrived at his destination, Monica's house. Mike took out a breath mint from his pocket and popped it in before sneaking around the perimeter of the house. Pretty soon, he's able to get a bird's eye view directly into the living room. From his angle, he could see the back of the couch, as well as the fireplace and the TV screen. He then noticed two people sitting on that couch. Monica was one of them, but the other one caused Mike's heart to split in two. It was her boyfriend, Bryce. They both relaxed on the couch. Bryce had his arm around Monica's shoulder, and they appeared to be watching some sort of romantic rom-com.
Monica!
Mike said whilst banging on the glass. Monica and Bryce then turned around and saw Mike creepily watching them from the window. Ew, what the fuck? Monica exclaimed. Bryce didn't hesitate to take action. He sprang up from the couch, slid open the window, and hopped outside. He landed in the yard just in time to witness Mike running away. Hey, get back here! Bryce shouted. Meanwhile, Monica was on the phone with the police, reporting a peeping Tom incident. Mike continued running away. He ran all the way back to the high school and into the football field. Little did he know, however, at the football field was Bryce's home turf. Long story short, Bryce ended up catching up to Mike and beating his ass. After that, the police arrived and Mike was taken away into custody at the local police station. An hour later, and Mike's dad had arrived to pick up his son. It was close to 11:30 p.m. at night now. Mike, what has gotten into you? First you buy school lunch again, and your grades in school get even worse, and you get arrested for spying on girls. When we get home, you are grounded for the entire month. Mike knew he was done for. His dad drove him home along the empty road till they arrived back in the neighborhood. The entire car ride was silent. When they got home, Mike went up into his room and just went on TikTok before falling asleep. It's funny though, because it seems as if TikTok was what got Mike into this entire mess in the first place. Or maybe it was something deeper. You see, Mike is like your average high school Joe. He lacks all aspects of discipline and self-control, hence why he utterly failed No.November, and simply craves social fulfillment, relationships, and comfort like everyone else. He just goes about them the complete wrong way. So, the lesson here, don't be like Mike, do better. And that then concludes the 1 Minute Fix.